Hey gang, this is the letter edition of the podcast. It's letter number 14. Again, I wrote this about 6 months ago. I was obviously having a tough week, and I don't care who you are in entrepreneurship and business, you're going to have tough weeks. This is a hard gig, gang. Yes, it's rewarding, but it takes time to be rewarding. So hopefully this letter will give you a cuddle if you're going through a tough time. It's true, I have a larger dose of positivity than most, and I can put on a show. We can all put our face on when we need to. I get through and deal with things more than most. I think I do. But it's also true that I have days when I don't want to do it anymore. Fleeting, maybe only one day a month. On those days, I go home early and go to bed. I'm talking like before 3 o'clock, before the kids come home. I down tools, that's the phone, and I lie in my bed with some biscuits and a cuppa. And the cuppa has to be Yorkshire Gold tea bags. Must be gold, as it's stronger and packs much better flavour. I have one sugar, and it's always made with blue milk. Silence is my friend here. I'm aware that I'm mere moments away before the family comes home, and I have to be on for my little darlings. I get home early on the rare days that get to me, so I can fall into the abyss of thinking. I'm feeling sorry for myself. I allow myself 20 minutes of self-pity. Then my brain, which works faster than normal, thinks, how will I get through this current storm that I'm facing? Some weeks I deal with more challenges than people face in a lifetime. My wife often asks me, how do you cope? The funny thing is, she knows about 5% of what I deal with, not because I keep secrets. No. So much happens that I can't tell her everything. We've reached a stage where buying a property or doing a business deal is boring. Not worth discussing. We've had conversations about things she didn't even know I owned because they've come up in conversation. Really bizarre. Mrs. S gets frustrated by life's small irritants, like being late. And if I say, what are we doing again this weekend? I don't. See, I'm dealing with how am I going to get that 2 million contract over the line, pay these new wage rises and handle shipping containers going through the roof, along with recessions and rising interest rates akin to loan sharks. Can you believe that just a few years ago the base rate was nearly zero? Look at it now. As I write today, I have to find an extra 100k a month to stand still compared to 18 months ago just because of inflation, wages and interest rates. Unbelievable. Money, fortunately, does solve most problems. If you have plenty of it, all issues then become irritants. I'll take irritants over issues any day of the week. No matter how much I've got, shipping container prices going through the roof will always irritate me. But I get over irritants much quicker than most. I've learned that the little phrase, c'est la vie, works well here. Others let irritants dwell for far too long. For a happy life, you must learn to get over irritants so the world gives you issues. See, if you can solve issues, you're powerful. A better word, effective. Now, effective people, rare that they are the gold dust that solves the world's problems. Even a handful of these gems working for you can catapult your business. Remember, effective people are drawn to work for effective people. Work on yourself over your business. Issues are serious, and you have to be on your A game to deal with them. Irritants waste time. Be careful how much time you give them. Squash them quickly so you can address issues. When tough times come, your ability to cope is paramount. Here's some coping mechanisms that I find help. Walking amongst trees, just general walking in nature really does help me. Get friends who are ahead of you so you can have a little chat with them. Get a notepad and write your list of problems down. The process of writing things on paper really does help. I've noticed that as soon as you start addressing things, you overcome them. Now, how good are you at picking up the phone and having awkward conversations that you know you need to have means you become effective. Exercise is a great analogy here. Putting on your trainers is the first hurdle to overcome. The first rep is the hardest, and then it gets easier and easier. The same is true of awkward meetings, letting a team member go or addressing an issue you have with someone. The pent-up pressure to deal with it causes the stress, so just deal with it. Meeting someone in person or picking up the phone to talk things through trumps sending a text or email, which is what everyone else does. When you send a text or email, it irritates the receiver, leading to more emails and texts, which results in more issues. Picking up the phone or meeting saves time and stress, in my opinion. I have learnt to face things head on and encourage you to do the same. Get better at meeting face to face instead of sending another pointless email. You'll know, as I do, that pulling off that plaster is the thing to do. Recently, I had to send an email to one of my closest external advisors, one of my bank managers, because I wasn't happy about something. I sent a text to say it was coming, as I had to put it in writing. It was one of those. I just had to do that. I just couldn't address this over the phone. Then I quickly called them to ensure it wouldn't blow up and become an issue between us. They were unhappy with its content. So I picked up the phone every day to repair our relationship. We're also meeting face to face. The stress of not speaking on good terms would have created too many scenarios in my mind. I alleviated that stress by making the call and arranging to meet face to face. The more you can communicate, the more things thaw. Head-on conversations work. Meeting face to face works. Picking up the phone works. The bigger the challenge, the more important that is. Be very wary of solving problems over email. I just wanted to add a little extra here. I've often spoken about rare and protected forms of leverage that give people an advantage in business. I'm absolutely going to write a book about this one day. Whilst driving along today, the crisp sunshine put me in a reflective mood. I thought about another form of leverage that comes up more often than not. You know, in life, we have that chance meeting with an individual who gives you an opportunity weighted in your favour, mainly because they believe in you. They just see something in you. And that usually is the secret sauce of entrepreneurs. I've been listening to some great podcasts recently, including a discussion with Deborah Meaden. She was talking about her Dragon's Den investments and a chance meeting she had when she was 20. I say chance, but in reality, entrepreneurs find ways to make that chance happen. Deborah made the trip to Knightsbridge from her home in Taunton. That was a big journey to see if she could meet the managing director of a company she wanted to franchise with. She got on the train, made the trip and asked. And then luck came her way when the MD believed in her and let her pay later for her stock. And in this particular deal, that gave her a cash flow advantage. Hard work pays dividends if you make the right moves. My plea to entrepreneurs or those in power is if you come across someone who has potential, maybe a customer, a supplier, or a connection, trust them every now and then more than you should. Because just from time to time, you could really change someone's life. That MD who believed in Deborah made a real difference in her life. And I've encountered many people like that, such as a great bank manager who has convinced his boss to authorise a loan when I didn't have enough security, or a supplier who has let me pay over time. Really good people. Deborah's been on Dragon's Den for 20 seasons. It's a long time. Just think about this. How many investments do you think she's made? Have a ponder, and I'll answer that one next week. I just want to leave you with a final thought here. I've been thinking about effective people for a while now, and this quote sums up a good and effective person, and it's a brilliant philosophy to live by. I mention it quite often, but I just want to say it again. The true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shade you do not expect to sit. Until next week, to your continued success, I'm James. Bye-bye. There's a lot here to go through on this. You do have tough times, you have tough weeks, and I think lots of people probably look at the content I put out and think, oh, this guy's having it off. And in many ways, yeah, I do have it off. I've got an amazing family, brilliant friends, an amazing team, a big business. But I still have weeks where I'm like, oh my God, this is a challenge and a half to deal with. And that's why I like sharing it. It is so tough, being the leader of many, making the impossible happen all the time. And that's why I always say, look, great entrepreneurs just work on the impossible and put in great management to look after the possible. And if you know all the possible stuff is being done, you can deal with the impossible. And that's why I use this little philosophy for business success, which is E plus M equals S, entrepreneurship plus management equals success. And I saw real entrepreneurial grit and determination in that Deborah Meaden story that I told you about. She literally, I think she was selling crockery and plates and stuff for hospitality in the early days. And she wandered into one of the biggest suppliers of crockery in London and just chanced her arm to see if she could find the MD and said, look, I want to sell all this stuff for you. I will get you lots of customers. I haven't got enough cash flow. I need some credit. These are my problems. And I always say this is a common denominator with entrepreneurs. If you ask for help and you clearly define why you need the help, help comes. And, that's that little story there. And she's obviously gone on to do some amazing things. And if you're wondering how many investments Deborah made, you're going to have to wait to see the next letter that comes out on video next Friday. To your continued success. Bye-bye.